I know the cliche instant take on seeing the title of this video would be to rush to the comments and say something along the lines of, "Ain't no way, bro. Why are you just talking for the sake of talking?" And I get it, it's obviously something that's unpopular. I mean, the San Francisco Giants, the team that hasn't made the playoffs in 3 seasons, and not that many seasons over the last almost 10 years, overtaking the freaking Dodgers, the team that just won it all and has only added to their talent this offseason. Yes, that sounds crazy. At least I'm sure to most of you it does. But combine the moves the Giants have made lately with a lot of what they already had and the direction that they're going, I feel like you've got something there. Something potentially really, really special, even while being in the toughest division in baseball. Really quick, as always, if you're part of the 59% of viewers not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button if you enjoy the videos, as I want to start off with something I feel has been very overlooked regarding the Giants, something that not many people are giving enough attention and credit to, and that's the change in front office leadership. Despite not even a year going by after signing a 3-year extension with the team, the Giants decided it was time to part ways with general manager Farhan Zaidi, the guy who'd been running the ship for 6 years. It was October 2023 when he signed a 3-year deal that was later revealed to be a 2-year deal with an option for 2026. So 2025, this upcoming season, would have been his last guaranteed year under contract. And with the Giants finishing where they did in 2024, not really going anywhere, just staying put the same way they've been the last couple of years, they decided to move in a new direction and replace Zaidi with someone I don't think any of us would have predicted in Buster Posey. At least not most of us. You know, the 7-time All-Star Giants catcher who won an MVP and 3 World Series championships with the franchise. That same Buster Posey. I mean, I don't know how many Buster Poseys are out there, but if the Giants signed a Buster Posey to be their new general manager and it was someone else entirely with the same name, that'd be really weird. But anyway, Posey retired what felt a little prematurely. He was only 34, and it did feel random, which is why him becoming the new Giants general manager feels all the more right. Yeah, he wasn't quite the player he used to be, but something always felt left in the tank for Buster. Like he wasn't completely done yet. Turns out it'll be in an entirely new role, but with the same organization he spent his whole life with, really. It didn't take long after his retirement to become more involved with the team from a non-player perspective, joining the 30-member ownership group of the Giants and served on its board of directors not even a year after retiring. And even before officially becoming the new general manager or president of baseball operations, whatever you want to call the role, he played a big part in getting Matt Chapman to stay in San Fran with his extension. Posey was apparently very active in getting a deal done and led the contract negotiations. So he was already getting his feet wet in this sort of thing before he was officially the guy. And after parting ways with Zaidi, Posey has taken over and is the guy. And this is big, really big. Do I think this alone should make the Dodgers sweat? The fact that their former catcher is leading the front office now? Obviously not, but that's not the point. The Giants, a team that hasn't been that far off from being good since they last made the postseason, clearly wanted to go in a new path. And I think having someone like Posey there works so well. The Texas Rangers head of baseball operations is also a former player, Chris Young, and they won a championship. Does that mean the Giants will simply win it all because they have a former player running things? No, but I've always liked the idea of a former player being the general manager, because what a former player adds obviously is a personal perspective on how to handle a team. And if you combine that with what I would assume an analytical type of mind, which is somewhat what you have to be in that role, I think that's a great way to run things. You don't want to get too analytical or too non-analytical. Balance is key to everything in life, and I think a guy like Buster Posey, who's not just a former player, but a guy who seems pretty well balanced himself, is a really good start to this new direction the team is headed in. I mean, he really seems to be the perfect guy for this position. He was the Giants leader when he played for years. He worked well with the pitching staff for years being the catcher. And again, he was never a loose cannon in any way. This is also a guy who, despite not being around in 2020 physically because of the pandemic, Posey kept in touch with some of his Giants teammates through weekly Bible study over Zoom. And that's just one of the many, many, many ways that shows Posey's character is strong. He seems to think and operate pretty rationally, and it's not like the Giants are throwing him into this new position and going, knock yourself out. No, they're smartly hiring other baseball minds around him to help out, to support someone just entering this job, even though he's incredibly qualified and has already been involved, like I said. So they're making a lot of seemingly good decisions for their rebuilding in the front office. No offense at all to Zaidi, but Posey seems like a much better fit for where the Giants seem to want to be going and how they plan on getting there. I think Posey is a guy not one player in the clubhouse would have an issue going out to die for. I'm sure it's pretty quick to like the guy if you haven't met him yet, and he'll be able to relate a lot to not just those players, but to the fans, much better than Zaidi ever did. And you can already see the changes being made roster-wise with the new direction of the Giants. Well, kind of new. It's almost like they're bringing something back. When the Giants won their championships with Posey as their catcher, the two most valued things on those teams were pitching and defense. You know, it's kind of ironic or funny or whatever you want to call it, because Barry Bonds, you know, the greatest hitter ever in baseball, ever, was on the team for years. They never won a championship with him. He stops playing, and 3 years later, the Giants win their first ever championship, and then go on to win 3 in the span of 5 years. Baseball just works in wild ways, but those Giants teams that won didn't necessarily have the heaviest hitters. It was a very drastic difference from the Barry Bonds days. Outslugging you wasn't their game. It was really doing the simple stuff well, really well, getting outs and catching the ball, making plays. And as for the hitting, getting those timely hits. You could argue those Giants teams were even boring and didn't have too much personality or edge to them compared to others, but it worked. And I think Posey's already making strides on making this Giants roster more like those championship winning ones he was a part of. I mentioned him being such a big voice and extending Matt Chapman, and now, as the official president of baseball ops for the Giants, he's already broken his own franchise record for contracts. He previously had the biggest contract in Giants history, Posey. And not that Willy Adames and his contract are insane either way, but Willie is still a very good player, and he just got a lot of money, $182 million over 7 years. But forget about the money. The Giants needed a shortstop this offseason. That was a goal, and Posey got his shortstop to field alongside with Matt Chapman on his right at third base. That might be the best defensive left side of any infield in baseball. Now, are they the best hitters? No, but they're also no scrubs with the bat either. So I think Adames is a great move for the Giants. Keeping Chapman was as well, building a defense up that needs the help. The Giants ranked second in 2024 in defensive value at third base because of Matt Chapman, obviously. So now add Adames to his left. Strong step in the right direction, both defensively and offensively. And speaking of the offense, the Giants' offense wasn't anything special last year, but it wasn't at all bad either, which is what you can say for the entire team. They basically had 7 hitters who all produced about the same at a pretty above average level. So most of their offense did hit, not to an elite level, but to a pretty good level. They're also getting Jung-Hoo Lee back. Don't forget about him. He had his rookie season end way too prematurely because of an injury, but I'm excited to see him come back and see what he can do healthy over a full season, while also having the most badass nickname in baseball, the grandson of the wind. I mean, are you kidding? And then with the pitching, it's the same thing. Most of their pitchers were pretty good. Not at all elite, but pretty good. I mean, this is a team that finished 80 and 82. They were 79 and 83 in 2023 and right at 500 in 2022 at 81 and 81. So the Giants don't suck and haven't sucked for years. Yeah, they haven't gotten remotely close to what they did in 2021, where they won 107 games, which was obviously a fluke. But the current state this team is at, even if not great, is not at all one to trash, especially with the front office changes and additions that they've made. The rotation did lose Blake Snell to the literal Dodgers in their own division, but this pitching staff definitely has potential. They're getting a lefty back after losing Snell and Robbie Ray, who they traded for from Seattle, and someone who hasn't pitched a full year since 2022. Is he the answer? No, but he has the potential to really help out, same with others, and it's not like I'm predicting this starting rotation or pitching staff overall to be the best. They probably won't even be the best in their own division, but you have Hayden Birdsong, Keaton Wynn, and Kyle Harrison, who all are either pretty much still rookies or about to enter their second year. Last year was Jordan Hicks's first ever as a starter, so they could all take a step in the right direction, especially if they have catchers who can work well with them, something I'm sure Posey, a guy who, again, caught for 12 years, will value, because it's not necessarily about the Giants pitching the best. That shouldn't be the expectation at all. It's more so about racking up enough innings to stay in it. Like Logan Webb, for example. He's not nearly the best pitcher in baseball. He doesn't throw the hardest or strike that many guys out, but he gets outs. Lots of ground balls and eats up innings, which is exactly how those early 2010s Giants rotations were built for the most part. If they do want some outside help, they could still grab a guy like Jack Flaherty or Nick Pivetta, or what I think would be best, Max Scherzer. Yes, I know Scherzer's way past his best days and is more injury prone than ever, but I don't think adding an experienced, accomplished veteran like him hurts, especially for how cheap it would be. He really could be a nice help to the pitching staff, almost in a coaching way, let alone the talent he still has left in the tank to bring to the mound. And the bullpen has plenty potential too. too. Ryan Walker came out of nowhere to pitch to an ERA under 2 in 80 innings last year. He was nasty. You have the Rogers brothers from each angle off the mound, including the way of the submarine. I mean, imagine facing Taylor, the lefty, then all of a sudden next inning you're facing the same exact person, but he's now right-handed, throwing an underarm slider you're swinging at even though it hits you in the face. I mean, that's freaky. That on its own could screw any team up. Seriously though, they're both good options. Walker was great, and even the worst bullpen arm last year, Camilo Doval, watch out for him. He seems like the perfect candidate to have a big bounce back year. He throws really hard, his nasty stuff, strikes guys out, and although wasn't that good last year, still got unlucky according to the metrics. Relievers do this all the time. They suck one year and then become Mariano Rivera the next. Not saying that'll happen, but Doval has potential to be great and has shown it before in 2022 and 2023. There are a lot of question marks on this Giants team, absolutely, and there's no denying that. I get it, but they've been a mediocre team for 3 years now. Even with losing guys like Blake Snell, overall they've improved this offseason so far, and with the question marks that come with this roster, I also see a lot that can go right, which obviously only makes a mediocre team better. I've looked at this from a pure Giants perspective, but let's branch out for a second. Forget just the National League overall. You could argue the Giants aren't even the third best team in their own division, but let's go with the team everyone reveres right now, the Dodgers. As good as they are, I feel like people forget way too easily how not easy it was for them to win it all. This past year, the Padres had them on the ropes before falling asleep at the wheel, and 2 of the games the Dodgers won in the World Series should have been games the Yankees won. Games 1 and 5, but they completely choked them away. So they're not like unstoppable. And there's also injuries. The Dodgers may have the sexiest pitching staff in baseball right now, but how quickly and easily do we forget their entire opening day starting rotation hit the injured list at one point last year? And then even the guys coming in to fill their spots were getting hurt. Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, add Blake Snell, among so many others too. Yeah, that's great on paper, but realistically, how likely is it they all stay healthy for a year? The Dodgers unfortunately can't defer injuries, and those naturally come with any team over the course of a season, especially with the guys the Dodgers have. LA obviously top to bottom is built the best, and the D-backs and Padres on paper look better too, but the Giants aren't very far behind them. And how quickly we also forget about what happened in 2021. The defending champion Dodgers lost the division to the Giants, a team nobody expected to sniff the postseason, won 107 games in the division. Again, I know that was a fluke, but let's not act like baseball is a predictable sport. It's far from it. And to me, this current San Francisco Giants roster, even though not being the best or nearly the best, already had strong things on it. Now add Willy Adames and the new front office led by Buster Posey. A lot will have to go right for this team to make the playoffs and challenge the Dodgers for either the division or a playoff series. But that's also how it works for every team, really, good or bad. A lot has to go right. And considering they weren't far off from a winning team to begin with, have a lot of potential while also going into the new direction that they're headed in, I don't think it's crazy at all to say the San Francisco Giants can make the Dodgers sweat a little bit in 2025. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.